my G's? Y'all should know what it is. It's BKA Watts, one half of the Blerds And Clips podcast, right here on the Pro 3 ENT Network. And today we're going to talk about Judas and the Black Messiah, but differently than y'all have talked about it, because I brought some guests with me. Some of the folks who are actually in the movie in one way, shape, or form. So, with that being said, if I can get my guests from right to left to introduce yourselves and tell them a little bit of what you did.
Alvin, Frazier. I worked as a featured background actor and stand-in.
Marisol, Ramos. I was an extra on set for 2 different scenes.
McWhorter. I was a featured actor, stand-in, and production assistant.
That's really dope, man. I mean, credentials. Wow. All right, man. So listen, I also was there for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? I know people, so I randomly got called and then got to be there for quite some time and freeze in some scenes that we shot that basically didn't make it into the movie because timing or whatever else the case may be. I'm just hoping that we get to see me in the bonus features. But it's all good, man. I saw the movie. Everybody else that saw the movie. I mean, what y'all think about it, man?
I thought it was powerful, man. Very, very impactful. I mean, even though it wasn't a biopic about Chairman Fred, but the fact that we got something that Hollywood acknowledged, you know, in terms of considering his life partially story or film worthy. You know what I mean? I thought that was great.
I love the connectivity with the Black and Brown, and beyond that, I love that it was here in Cleveland. I love that, and one of the scenes that I was a part of, my last name being Ramos, I found out that the gentleman that had passed away and that we were at his funeral was Manuel Ramos. So I got to learn a little bit more about his role in the Young Lords and being a founder, one of the founders. So, or I should say, one of the leaders. And it was an experience for me to learn more about what I was made of and more about history. And not only that, it fueled me to want to become my own activist in my own way, using potentially poetry. That's another story.
Overall, I enjoyed the movie because it was a powerful situation. I like anything that got to do with Black Panthers anyway.
For sure.
Because it's so many different stories from different people that, you know what I'm saying, impacted the situation as a whole. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anything for our people is something that I'm always gonna hold to a high standard. So like just seeing the movie, you know what I'm saying, just on the playback side, it was crazy. I say 5 stars because they trying to really fight for that Oscar run. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I give it 5. So.
Yeah.
And not just because I was a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing too. Like I've been telling people, like, you know, from social media to Clubhouse, like we've had conversations, and it's like I'm trying to let people know, like I'm not coming into it with a bias because it was shot here or because I was involved in any way. It was just dope, and like you said, it's not a Chairman Fred biopic, and I think a lot of people went into it thinking that that's what it was.
Right.
So you had some people who went into it thinking that it was that, and when they didn't get that, they were upset. And then you had some people who were against it out the gate because they knew what it was and they felt like, I don't want to go support a story about a snitch. And it was just like, you missing the message too.
Exactly.
Like, so like you're not really adding to the solution fuel, you know what I'm saying, by having that mentality, because it's like if you would just go look at it, then you will understand. And I think that it's serving its purpose, which on one hand is to tell a story, but I feel like that is opening so many people's eyes up to go and then dig in and figure out more about Chairman Fred and what the Panthers were doing and so on and so forth. Dope.
It's created a lot of dialogue, you know, around the film, you know, definitely. And the story is so deep. Like I was fortunate enough to be able to do some reading on Chairman Fred about 3 years before the project came about. And before that, I'd heard the name, but I didn't really know much about him.
For sure.
I knew he had been basically assassinated or neutralized, as COINTELPRO would call it.
Man.
But I began to do a little more reading on my own to learn the story and also, of course the William O'Neill's tie-in to how that played out. So I learned quite a bit about Chairman Fred before coming into the film. So it was kind of like, oh man, when I heard the project was going to happen, I said, yo, this is going to be a discussion. You know what I mean? It's going to be a discussion for a lot of different people, man, because there's, you're going to have people who stand on different sides of the line about it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
We get a lot of that. And I know that something else that bothered a lot of people was the fact that Daniel Kaluuya got cast in the role. Because it was, a lot of people wanted an American actor to portray this American leader. Black is black, fam. Like, if you ask me, and I'm all for talent being in place when it comes to this type of situation. And Daniel, I feel like he captures so much of it. Like, when you go look at, you go watch Chairman's interviews, listen to him talk, I feel like he dug in, he caught the mannerisms, I feel like he had the voice.
Yeah.
I asked this. If, since everybody, gave that man a lot of criticism when it came to that factor, then I was going to ask the question, so who would you rather have put in that place then?
Same thing I've asked. I mean,
because I would say nobody.
No, I feel you. Like, I'm saying, like, it's not to say that there isn't somebody else, but what people don't understand is how the Hollywood machine works. It's based on money at the end of the day. No matter what you look at, it's going to be based on money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You put a person in a movie, they're looking at that person's value that they bring to the box office. Who's coming to see it because of this person? If we put this person in it, we know the movie has this potential value to it. That gives us a bigger pitch to say to whoever's financing it, give us more money because we have this person attached. So if you attach a bunch of no names, your budget is going to be $6. That's just how it works. It's the business aspect of it. So even if there was somebody else who could have been good, would they have the same star power to bring to it? On top of, would they have also been able to portray it?
And I think that's what it definitely ties into what you're saying too, B, but I also agree with the fact that in terms of his delivery and portrayal of the character, you know what I mean?
It's solid.
It's solid.
It's solid.
It is very solid. And I mean, I think I used to kind of feel a little bit indifferent being an actor from America. When they would cast a lot of British actors in the films, at first. And then I began to look more and say, okay, wait a minute, let me judge it based on the performance.
Right.
If they weren't delivering, then that's the course. And I said that maybe that I would have a better stand on it. I said, other than that, I'm kind of in my feelings about it. That's not relevant right here.
For sure.
So I had to be mature in motion, say, nah, get out of your feelings and look at what the craft is saying. And with Daniel's portrayal of Chairman Fred, he delivered. And what I'm kind of blown away by, considering again, I know it's an element that people may not really think of that's that important, but a British cat, man, that can get with a vocal dialect coach and sound like that.
And sound like an American in Chicago.
From down south originally.
From down south in the 60s.
Exactly.
all at once. Like,
while being British when he's not doing that.
And this is the thing too. At the end of the day, when you talk about actors, it does not matter who is playing Fred. It ain't Fred. It's somebody pretending to be, because that is what the job title is. Be somebody who is not you for X amount of time. So it's just like, was it good, bro? Like, that's the part that matters. And I feel like it was. I feel like Lakeith was super nuanced. He knew what he was doing was wrong. At points, you could see it in his face. He knew that he was getting away with some shit, and sometimes that made him happy, but he was young. And you gotta remember that. Like, I know people also had the criticism that they felt like they didn't look young. So it was hard for them to see them as young. But when you go back and look at them niggas, they didn't look young.
Yeah,
like the real people, they didn't look young.
Our parents, man, they was 17, 18, 19, looked older than we did. We turned 30. I mean, it was like he was 17? I didn't look like that until I was 33.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a hard working man.
Facts.
Lakeith is a hard working man.
Look,
I learned a lot from that dude. Just, you know what I'm saying? being around in the scenes that, you know, I was in and just doing a lot of stand-ins for him alone, just his whole preparation method and, you know what I'm saying, emotional tap in is kind of, it's like genius within itself, but I know my mans was gonna have to go talk to somebody after playing that type of part. You feel what I'm saying? And just me being around it for as long as I was around it and watching this dude, hey, the dude is a talented dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's literally a genius, and even before even being around him, I done seen him in a lot of other stuff, and then I'm just like, hey man, dude really got it. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first seen him, he was like in what's the show, Atlanta?
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So just the way he tap in a certain, I learned a lot and, you know, try to add it to my situation. You know what I'm saying? Just from being around. Like, good dude though.
Yeah, Lakeith is a great guy.
No, absolutely. It's nuts. You know, talking to people, and you know, I remember when it first dropped, people were like, "Don't spoil it for me." It's like, my nigga, it's a true story. Okay,
right.
Sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
If you don't know what happens, all right, cool. But they definitely put a lot of work into this thing. I'm sure we all got to, you know what I'm saying, be in some type of close capacity with the director, Shaka King. Super cool, man. Super cool.
Yes.
Like, I didn't know, so my first day on the set, I didn't know who he was. So, and I treat everybody the same. It's just how I am. So it's like, I don't give a shit. Famous, whatever. When I used to be a nigga with a job, like my boss, district manager, I don't.
Guy,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like normal dude.
You know what I'm saying?
But like I didn't know who he was, and everybody on set had the same brand coat, and it was cold as shit. The big, yeah. So man, so everybody had them coats, and they were sitting at the table, and we were in extras holding. And the first day, I was like, yo, this little boring. I need to do something. So like the next day, I came with my book bag. I had 4 decks of cards. I had dominoes. I had my Bluetooth speaker. We had the table going. So it was like full blown kicking. And I just kept noticing the dude looking over at us like, the niggas lit. And it was like, and then after the fact, when we went outside to finally start shooting, like he's right in front of the camera, and I'm like, oh shit.
But he was right there with the people all the time.
It
wasn't no
though.
separation situation. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
everybody interacted with everybody. It wasn't a weird situation. That situation seemed like a family situation.
Yeah.
Just
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
The only time that it wasn't was the one day in extras holding. Somebody came down there and was just like, hey, so they bringing in the food, we getting ready to feed everybody. Y'all don't touch shit until the stars eat. It was like, alright, nigga, damn, chill out. Like,
the church holding.
for sure. We was in that joint. But like, even with that though, like everybody came through, like the important folks came in and got their food. Everybody was cool. They sat down and kicked it with us. And then after the fact, they rolled out brand new everything for all of us too. So it was the same treatment. I'm like, hey, look, bro, I'll definitely sit here and chill, working on my magic while I wait to get these delicious foods I ain't never heard of before.
Right.
They definitely had some exclusive shit. So that was cool.
You want to know something? Like even being a part of this situation and just, you know what I'm saying, having to recreate something that's real like that, I'll be looking at the overall fact. It's like, hey, the feds always try to knock our people all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody would look at the character that Lakeith played and be like, hey man, he was a snitch. I say, but you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it from another angle, like another vantage point. The feds always trying to stop us from doing something. That's why they was created, to stop us from doing something, right? So it's the same thing they did to Billie Holiday. And I gotta say something about that movie, bro. Like, that movie is so crazy, but then once I look at that overall, I'm like, there go the feds again.
For sure.
There it go again. You know what I'm saying? It's like nobody want us to be great. How we supposed to be great. And the institution was created to stop that greatness. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And it's to me, it's kind of like a smack in the face because you still gotta watch that institution still exists.
Yeah.
And when they so feel like it, they'll be like, well, we don't like what he doing. We don't like what she doing. We don't like what they doing. hey, let's go get them. But we know we can't get them directly, so let's get one of their people to turn on their people.
Yo, that was a crazy factor, man. Like, the thing was, like, some of the movie, because it's a movie, had to be changed or they had to embellish on some things. But so much of that shit was factual, bro. Like, so much of it, like having somebody who they know committed a crime, who's an informant, to then bounce around to the different chapter spots and then say, oh, well, we know he's there, so now we can go run up in that bitch. Lawfully, we can run up in that bitch now because we done sent in somebody who's on our side, but who has a false accusation on their back. That right there, crazy, bro. The fact that they were having whole ass meetings to say, these black people trying to do better for themselves are the biggest threat to our way of life. What? That's crazy, bro. Like, there's factors of this that I didn't know going into it.
Like free lunch. They stole our programs and gave them back to us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just certain key factors when it comes to that movie that they pinpoint that I think went over a lot of people's heads.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like people were so stuck on particular things. Like, if this little thing over here wasn't accurate to what they know, then throw the whole movie away. It's just like, bro, it's bigger than that. Like, they don't have time to cover Fred and the chapter going to every single gang in Chicago. Let's put them all together and make an amalgamation. It's the Crowns.
Right, because we know the extra story, right? So this is one thing we had to deal with on the set. Like, okay, so the Crowns is the Peace Stones. You know what I'm saying? But due to legal issues and gangs trying to get they bid in,
sure.
they then went and took Warner to court. You know what I mean? And this is what I knew, things in Hollywood, when you blink, they will change.
Yeah.
Very fast. So when I'm telling you, we doing the bar scene, right? And within, I give or take 60 minutes, they came back and said, yo, we gotta take the berets away. I'm like, no, y'all don't. I'm like, that's another iconic thing about that time that everybody remember. The Panthers, the Lords, those berets meant something. If you take them away, this is not gonna really be cool.
Right.
But our berets was red. So it was just cool just to see how even on set they digitized and made everything green.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And changed the whole situation. And I'm like, it's easy to get around them legal factors fast when, people trying to do other stuff. You feel what I'm saying? But it was just a crazy situation. Like, just like you said, there's more to the story than that. After the Peace Stones meeting, it was another meeting. It was a whole police interaction, but it didn't get shown.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, when you really know your history, you really know.
Well, this is what I think too, to tie in with that, with society as a whole, and especially our people, need a little more of is do the research, do the reading.
Right.
The information is there. If you're not a person that goes to a bookstore or a library, I'm a book person, so I'd rather open up a book any day.
Right.
But if that's not your thing, you got it all in the power of your hand right here on your phone.
Absolutely.
To research it. So, you don't have to just say, well, I'm watching. Look, there's more to the story. Look it up and you'll find out, like you said, the additional information that the movie couldn't show. It's a movie. You can't cram all that in a 2-hour time frame. It's just not possible. You have to pick and choose. Just like when you turn a book into a movie and people complain about that, you can't shoot it the way the book is directly. It's just not possible.
Right.
You got to pick out the pieces, the more valuable pieces, and then from there, whatever you like, if you read the book, then you know the whole story. God bless.
Right.
Then you just put the piece together. You know what I'm saying?
At the same token, I was on that movie for a long time on both sides. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like I'm still in my heart hoping that it's a director's cut or when it come out another way that people can get that other content, because I know what I was a part of. I know what I seen shot, and I know when I actually went to see the movie. You know what I'm saying? When I actually watched it back, I'm like, man, yo.
A lot.
I'm like, it's a lot. It's when I say it's a ton missing.
Yeah.
I would love to see the ton that was missing.
And Shaka talked about that too, saying that he don't feel like it would have worked or been as widely palatable and received
Right.
if he would have been able to just do what he wanted to do and forward with it.
Right.
But you know, and that's just how this thing works. People really don't know how the machine works and what goes into putting these things together. And with that being said, I feel like for what he was given and how it had to be presented after having been worked on for years, because you know, like they tried to get this thing rolling in like 2014, and we getting into 2021. Like this been a pathway to finally get here to this version with you know with Shaka and Will Burson, you know, finally getting this thing together, right? And I feel like this was low key the only way it was gonna work. On one hand, I feel like because we got it, there won't be anything like it for a while. Like we ain't gonna get nothing else like this no time soon.
And that's why I spoke on the other movie.
Yeah,
Because it's kind of like them two that's in that tone.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we ain't gonna get this.
Yeah, we're not getting this no time soon. But again, the purpose I believe is served. I feel like so many people went and then said, I need to know more, because of the fact that we now know how Chairman died. Like now people are going to go research how he lived.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Shout
Like,
out to his son too. 'Cause
Oh,
that's
for sure.
That's another dude.
And listen, I was in the clubhouse room, and somebody was in the room. I ain't going to watch that shit, man. His family, his son ain't had nothing to do with it, and they ain't respected and want nothing to do. I was like, fam, who were you listening to?
Right.
Right.
You taking it and running with it and go on Clubhouse.
If I know I was in my mama's stomach while all this was going on, man, I want to know. This my. Come on, man.
But this is the thing. His son was there. Like he was here, not there, here in Cleveland with us. Like, bro, like we got a picture, all of us together on set, like in the extras holding, and he was happy as shit. Like, this is gonna be right. Like, it's gonna be right because they were involved. Him and the Black Panther Cubs were here.
Yeah.
Like, were here. They
Mad respect to them too.
For sure,
man,
man.
respect.
Like everybody was super cool and respectful, and I felt like everybody who was involved in this joint was compassionate about what it was, and they really wanted to see it come together the right way. Like I said, for us, our perspective is different. You know what I mean? Like, you can call it bias, or you can just call it the reality. You know what I mean? Like, you heard that Fred Hampton's family didn't support this. We were on set with his family, and they was like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
green light.
I hear you spitting misinformation, whatever it is, but like, here are people who were actually there who say, no, that's not the case, bro. It's not the case. This thing was dope. This thing was well done. And like, they put them to the test. They put Daniel and Dominique to the test, right? Before they said,
that's what I
okay.
say. It's a slew of other actors and actresses that was in this film that was dope. Like I forget his name. Algie, what was
Algie
his name?
Smith.
Oh, Algie,
Man,
yeah.
the cast from New Edition.
Algie Smith.
The homie that did the Wu-Tang joint.
Ashton Sanders.
Oh man, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
This is a legendary situation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
some people in here.
Bro, look, Lady Rage was in that joint, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it was, there was a lot of power in this joint that they were able to pull off and put together. And if I can, if y'all want to speak on a particular moment while you were shooting or on set that was dope to you, or some of the experience on that, I feel like the people should hear that.
Shit.
Tough, right?
That's why I was saying I was on a lot of this situation. So it was like I was saying about Lakeith, I was seeing him tap in moments like it was a scene where himself killed himself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And it was watching him prepare for that part and do that. It was a deep situation, and that's because I watched him do it, but I also watched him, on set start to edit that situation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The part where he poisoned Fred. To watch that was a deep situation. You know what I mean? Just on the production side, just being behind the scenes and seeing how film is done on another level put me in a whole different perspective. I don't even look at movies the same.
Right.
TV shows, nothing. I don't look at it the same. You know what I mean? But those was kind of like critical moments for me. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing certain things done that was emotional, you know, that took a toll on kind of on my emotions. I'm from the streets, man. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so to even deal with a situation where you watching somebody snitch on somebody, you don't really get an account of the snitch's perspective.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand. People be put in certain situations too, and they be scared. I ain't saying because I come from a family of stop snitching.
For
You know
sure.
what I'm saying?
I feel like most of us do. You know what I'm saying?
Like, but it's you gotta be able to, you know, be an adult and be able to see both sides of the situation and understand both sides of the situation.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'd rather just end it with that. Like when you look at a situation, try to at least understand both sides instead of I'll take my personal opinion away and I'll look at both sides and be like, hey, yo, you gotta feel.
Well, that's emotional maturity, man.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
emotional maturity. A lot of people don't have that. You got adults who are grown, got beards and got, you know, breasts and whatnot, but they're not emotionally mature.
Right.
So when you're looking at it, and that's why I want to tap in real to it's not an experience, but to tap into what you said, brother, is that the fact that you saw through Lakeith's portrayal of William O'Neal, you saw the torment. You saw initially, okay, you could say he's an opportunist. He's like, yo, man, I gotta do this time. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to prison. I don't care how somebody glorifies it. It ain't nothing cool and dope about going to prison.
Facts.
We need to make that clear in the black community. Ain't nothing cool about going to prison.
Right.
Okay, so this man had a decision to make. Now, yes, I totally disagree of how that would happen against Chairman Fred, you know, but that's me moving my emotions out of it because I feel a way about it. But just saying, okay, let's look at the logical situation of what was going on at that time, what he was up against. And then you see that at some point, there's a conversion happening in his heart. But he's got to stay the course because he got to keep that deal going, because if you deviate, all bets are off and you go into prison.
Right.
Deep.
Yeah, you went too deep, but you can see there's a transformation starting to take place. And that was one of the things that made Chairman Fred so dangerous. And I was talking about this on the interview this morning. I'm saying that when you have someone who's that charismatic and he can galvanize a community of people and galvanize a certain demographic of people that are not even supposed to get along, from the gang members to the Hispanics to the lower class whites, and they're saying, hey, there's a commonality here that we all share that we need to come together on. That's extremely dangerous, and our greatest strength in terms of reaching people is your ability to relate.
For sure.
That's your greatest strength. No matter what you got going for you, how you relate is how you convert, how you recruit, flat out.
Absolutely.
You know, so I just wanted to tap in on that. It's not my experience, but I felt you on that. Yeah.
I would like to extend from the scene where Fred Hampton was talking and had the Confederate flag behind him.
Right.
As I start coming out of the church, he's talking about, like, he's literally talking while I'm coming out of the church in that scene, and he's saying America's on fire right now. And what's crazy is I feel like America's always on fire. I laughed when I first saw myself because I had that really, really sad face. And I was really in the moment. You know, I felt like it was an opportunity to see what I can do for the movie. So I personalized it, and I just feel like I was appreciated in that moment because I looked sad in there, and I was really sad in real life. Thinking about the whole story, and I don't know, that was just, it was beautiful for him to be talking while I was coming out and saying that America's on fire, because I just felt it in a lot of different ways. And then in addition to that, I wasn't shown on camera, however, I was in the church when he came from the bottom of the church and came out, and it was
Killed
the
her.
energy in that room was crazy. Like honestly, I cried when I was in there because I mean, not only was I happy to see this great artist performing in front of me, so artist to artist, my heart was really happy. But then just seeing how he came to light and imagining like what life would have been like, really being in that position. Like, so I really appreciate the impact that had on me. And so with that being said, it was just really amazing to be a part of it. And I remember telling myself, even if I don't see myself in the movie, I was glad to have been there. But I did see myself in the movie, and I felt like that quick, simple moment that I said, I'm gonna bring my best to this scene, was honored. So I appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing, I want to keep seeing it almost.
Yeah, I feel you.
To see what else I can come up with.
I'm a little bit agitated because that's all I've been getting, like, bro, blowing up my phone, bro. I just seen what else. I'm like, man, listen, man, we did that movie in 2019. It was supposed to come out August 21st, 2020. You know what I'm saying? 2020.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then all the stuff happened with our lives, like, you know, life changed as we know it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, hey, now I'm just like, hey, all the recognition that I got, and I'm like you. And I know all I shot for. I just want to see it back, right?
For sure.
So just to see that opening scene and see the opening bar scene and stuff like that, I'm just like, yo,
You made it in.
Whoa.
Made the cut.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody else that I know that was in this movie that I saw, I'm like, man,
Yeah, it was super cool to see people from the city.
we showed our ass on that movie.
For sure. Just seeing people that you know on like, because the day that it released, we went and rented out a screen to see the release.
Right.
So we was like, let's just go watch it. You know what I'm saying? Just with the homies, particularly like strangers go to another auditorium and kicking it. So we sat in that joint and it was just like, every time somebody popped up on the screen that I recognized, I'm like, hey, I don't even know his name, but I done seen him. Like, I know you. Like, and it was just dope, man. Like, we really are in this joint for real. And it was dope. And I saw particularly the moment that I knew there was moments that were cut. There's always moments cut. You know what I'm saying? It's just what happens. But I saw particularly the moment where our scene that we shot for was that they cut out, and it was just like, it would have been fire, because it was just like, it was right there, man. It was right there. Y'all could have just turned the camera just to the right a little bit. We was right there, like, and I also felt like it would have gave. I feel like if they would have included that joint, it would have gave some more context to that moment. That I feel like a couple people, you know, hearing people just being like, yeah, I felt like, man, it was so missing from it. I'm like, man, little do you know, nigga, it is. Like, there's a couple minutes right there that would have sauced it up, but I get it. But just, you know, being able to go and shoot for that moment and seeing how like stuff played out, and seeing how like, you know, apparently the Andis company didn't exist and nobody had a fresh lineup. So like I came on the set with the crispy like Mortal Kombat 3 logo shit looking crazy, and they was like, yeah, that doesn't work. We're gonna have to mush some extra hair on your face.
Yeah, put a
You know what I'm saying?
little
they was like, you know, we ain't got time. Put a hat on my head and was like, go. Like,
I literally already looked it like that. It was like, man, look, I need to get a haircut, and I was procrastinating. So
perfect.
you know, shout out to the assistant director. Her name is Bonita Alvin. She's from London.
Yeah.
Very, very good lady. I love her like a grandma. You know what I'm saying? Like she was like somebody's grandmother, and like she was dear to my heart. So I always think about that lady. You know what I mean?
And you had to learn her, man, because she was so harsh. You kind of don't
She
like her at
ain't no
first.
game.
She was a straight shooter.
And that taught me how to be on sets. Even when I'm shooting my own films, I'm like, this lady is thorough. But then when you get to look at her name up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see that long list of
Credits, bro.
everything all the way back to the
Crazy.
60s. And I'm like,
Crazy
yeah,
credits.
this lady
She's
is
like, okay.
the truth. You know what I mean?
Official.
And she ran that movie too.
She
ran
did.
that movie too.
She did. And when I say this about Shaka, I know I'm jumping around. I haven't got to my experience yet. But Shaka, what I loved about him, man, he was like a silent leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she was like the mouthpiece. Hey, you guys, get over here. He'd just be like,
For sure.
And just chill, and she would come up, be, you know, but yeah, he was still approachable.
Yeah.
But he was like, I said, he running it like a king up in this bad boy. He just whispered
was
something.
a muscle.
She come out there. She was a muscle.
Like, yeah, my man he definitely was hitting her with the royal advisor shit. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you see,
Right, he'll lean over and whisper.
little whisper, and
then she'll come and make it
stuff
happen.
happening. Like, yo, listen.
Yeah.
We freeze for the scene we shot that was supposed to be summer,
We
bro.
did too, man.
It was crazy because we had on just button downs, slacks, whatever. The scene when Ashton goes into the store and get into the shootout with the cops.
Okay, that's a
Jimmy-
nice
Jimmy
shot.
Palmer, right.
Nice, yeah.
So that shot, we come down the street, all talking shit, cracking jokes, and there's like 10 of us, and then we grab a box, throw it down in the corner of the building right there, and start shooting dice. So we up and get into the CeeLo game. So we get the dice cracking, and they put the camera where the box was. So when I tell you, like, I could smell the lens, it was right here, and we all in that joint around each other, close up in the camera, like, yeah, talking shit, just shooting the dice, and they like roll it right into the lens. We rolling them bitches right into the joint that's bouncing off the glass.
Nice.
And then Ashton right over my shoulder, and we side betting. So then throw my hand up, and he dropped the money in my hand, and I'm like, all right, we put it down, we bet. Bust his ass, all right, give me some more of that money, bruh. And then the police swerve down the street to go to the store, and when the police come down, we scatter.
Right.
And then he stand up and turn around with the cigarette and go down into the store. So they cut that scene, and I'm just like, nigga, come on.
It would have been like a build-up.
It would have had to build up. But like I said, I get it.
That's the thing about film. You know, this one made maybe of all the films, I think like film 17 for me or something like that. And
This nigga famous.
I had a chance to work on major films and then, you know, in independent as well.
But they shoot a lot here.
Yeah, so
People don't know that.
everywhere from, you know, being a background, to being a feature background, to being the lead, to being a supporting actor, you know, just different positions on it. But I learned early on, man, that heartbreak of when you're like, yo, I know what I shot and it doesn't make it into the film. Like either like, there goes back in my head right there, I'll tell you I was right there with the main actor, they didn't keep that, you know, or, you know, this is a scene, they changed up the sequence in the way that it's shot. So y'all know how it is when you're in filmmaking. You know, you shoot a scene that may have taken y'all 3, 4, 5 hours to shoot, and you know all that they shot for that sequence, and then they cut it down to a minute. Right. You know, a minute and a half in the film. You know what I'm saying? And you like, okay, you're just thankful if you made it in the frame somewhere to be seen. So we know that. Speaking of the cigarette you said that Ashton had, so my experience, one of my coolest experiences was, and this was with working as a stand-in. Mm-hmm. We were shooting the scene inside the headquarters. What's the actor's name that kind of looks like Chris Brown? That's in the movie. You know what I'm talking about? Light-skinned cat. He's a singer and stuff too, but he kind of favored Chris Brown. He's on the stairwell inside there. He was the informant they found out later on.
Oh yes, I never caught his actual name.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know you're talking about, but I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name at all. We were the second unit for that scene.
Okay.
And so I was his stand-in for there. And so when they, you know, of course, you know what being a stand-in, one of the things about being a stand-in is that you have to watch how the first unit, how they do the scene. Like you have to, because you got to literally do everything they're doing.
Absolutely.
So you can't kind of be just kind of off and la la land like, oh, or they'll move you out the way and say you ain't the right person with a stand-in.
Right.
So you got to do that. They're going to give you the side to study the script so you can know the lines, because you got to deliver the lines and act out the same mannerisms, right?
Right.
So when we're doing that scene, I watched him do it a couple of times. The keeper's in that one, and Algie, and that gentleman. And so when I go in to do his thing, you know, first take I run it, and then I'm thinking as an actor myself, I'm like, man, you know, something needs to be happening. You know, not saying this, but I'm like, okay, they ain't keeping what I'm doing anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm just on camera for whatever. But I'm like, okay, he needs to kind of, man, as an actor, I'm thinking like, what would I be doing if I was an informant trying to look like I wasn't an informant?
Right.
You know, and I got to like thinking to myself, getting to the head of the actor or the character. I'm like, cigarette. I would smoke a cigarette because the nicotine would keep me relaxed and then make them appear like I'm relaxed too, because I'm cool as I'm dragging on it, doing a few puffs or whatever, like that's just talking and deliver my lines, blowing it out and then flip it off, whatever case may be. So I did that like all the next 4 or 5 times when I did it. When they brought them back, they gave him a cigarette. He didn't have a cigarette in that scene.
That's dope. Impact!
So I was on the right side, of it, or you know what I mean?
Terrell Hill.
Yeah, Terrell Hill, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a cigarette in it, and I was like, either they planned to, I didn't know, but I sensed it, and it was like, here, give him the cigarette. And I was like, all right, cool.
Impact, baby. Impact. Yeah, man. I guess I ain't gonna keep y'all all day, man. This is because I know we literally could do this all day, man. But I guess is there anything that you want to say to the people as we wrap this thing up, either to the movie or to your experience or both?
Love your people. Everybody though, like you know what I mean, like this just go to just overall, just go to show how certain people are really evil towards another set of people because the beliefs might be different, or you might not be the same, or look the same, or feel the same. People should try to practice the factor more of each other. It's not a problem to just, love your own factions, but still, a part of love is respect. So you don't have to give another person the same type of love you might give a family member, but respect is love too. You feel what I'm saying? So, the hate factor would decrease if everybody knew how to love each other respectfully.
Agreed.
These type of situations won't repeat.
YG.
I would say whether you're behind the camera or in front of it, rise to your own occasion and learn from history, collaborate with others, and see what you're made of, and be that. You got one chance.
That's good. I would say I agree with everything they said, and I also offer one more tidbit about the film, that this was the first time with any film I've been a part of where the cast actually hung out in Cleveland.
Yeah, for sure.
They hung out in Cleveland. And shout out to my girl Joyce Ann, who was she was Daniel Kaluuya's assistant on this film. Literally, it was a situation where as extras, a lot of those extras were young people, that she would put the word out and say, hey, they want to go roller skating, we going to the skating rink. And you were able to go skating with Daniel and Lakeith and Dominique and everybody
he
like
shot
that.
Cleveland in particular.
Yeah, he did. Like, you were able to hang out with them. We going up to networks and go hang out with them, and they ain't up in the VIP. They dancing on the dance floor with y'all. I remember, I'm having a drink at the bar with Lakeith. We chopping it up, catching up. I'm just like, you never. I said, you don't get this often. You don't get a chance to be that close to the leading actors. It's almost like don't talk to them unless you have to do a scene with them. And sometimes if they speak to you, don't talk to them. You know what I mean? They want to keep the talent separated from the rest. And it was not like that. You literally had a chance to, like, how we kicking it. If they were in town, you could have said, hey, can you come by my podcast? And they might have fell through just to promote the movie.
I wasn't having that anyway. She just said, you got one shot, right?
Facts.
Right? I wasn't having that. So when you telling me to shut up and don't say nothing to get me passed by. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why, even on the set, I had the relationship with Lakeith that I had. And plus, I'm doing a lot of stuff close and a lot of scenes close to this guy. So at the end of the day, like, just like you said, and that's really was a main factor. You only got one shot if you don't.
And you have to take that privilege. You got to be careful. Because, people who there's an etiquette when you're on set.
Of course.
There's an etiquette. Like, you ain't supposed to have your phones out and doing all the extra stuff like that. There is an etiquette, even if you are an extra when you are on set. And one of the things they will tell you to do is to be mindful of, keep in mind that even when the camera isn't on you, as far as you know, be doing what you're supposed to do. Right. Because people got speaking lines in this movie and other movies I was on just because of like you said, how Shaka was watching. He's paying attention to see who's doing what, who's following what kind of directions, who's got what kind of energy, and that may be how you go from.
I was offered a job. I was offered a job off of what I was doing.
Exactly. See what I'm saying? It goes from because they're watching how you follow directions. You know what I mean? So definitely, like you did, often the cut like, yeah, man, you working close with them, so you got an advantage But if you coming across the way trying to talk to people, don't get back over there where you're supposed to be
Right.
at. That's not your place. There's an etiquette to it.
Yeah.
So that's something to remember as well.
No, definitely. And to what you said, man, that's probably for me, man. My biggest thing that I took away from it was, like I said, the way that I carried myself. Like I said, man, like I fuck with everybody, bro. And I feel like I get that back, and to come in there and be like, hey man, look, I don't know none of y'all. We all from the same city though. Like, bro, we kicking it. Like, we gotta sit here for hours and hours and hours. Bro, here go the music, here go the cards, here go the what. Like, I got snacks, bro. Like, let's just kick it and
Great
enjoy
networking
ourselves
experience.
for this, for what this
Great
is.
network.
And when I was still doing B-side, hosting at that moment, and I put out my birthday party flyer, and the whole crew came down to my birthday cake at B-side, and that was just so dope, bro. Because I hadn't got to meet or work with Daniel or Dominique. Daniel wasn't there, but Lakeith, Ashton, and Dominique all came down. And it was just so dope, and we had that joint grooving so hard, and it was just like, yo, like,
I heard about that. I
like,
didn't make it.
like Dom and Lakeith at my birthday party right now. Like, we kicking it, and then and it was moving everybody so strong the way we was grooving with the band, and we had the mic open. Dominique and Lakeith both got on the mic and performed, and it's just like, nigga, you ain't never had that at your birthday party. This is lit. Like,
All right,
so
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
right, you went
all like, to speak to all of that, like, it's, so like you said, they was kicking it in the city with us, man. Like,
absolutely.
they
That don't
rocked
happen.
with us. That was dope, bro.
That
Like,
don't happen.
like it was,
Overall, it wasn't fake.
no, it was real. It was real,
Yeah.
bro. It was real. It wasn't just, hey man, like we in y'all city in our trailers,
Right,
in
make
our
this money,
fancy
we getting up
hotels.
outta
We
here.
They
just spreading
didn't
it
do
out.
that at
They
all,
was
man.
out here,
They doing
bro.
press on the weekend because you had Knives Out, Keaton Jens, Lakeith was promoting, you
Right.
had Queen and
Queen
Slim
and
was
Slim,
out,
yep.
and Daniel was going doing press. They coming back and they coming right back here and on set. And on days they didn't have to be on set, they had school speaking to people. They had
Right.
the Boys and Girls Club. They hanging out. That don't happen.
Man,
that was a whole nother energy behind the scenes with this film that people
That
probably
people
didn't even
don't know
Yeah.
nothing about,
Mhm.
which is why we here to speak to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just dope, man. That's what it is, man. And I just want to say, Judas and the Black Messiah is available in theaters right now, as well as at home on HBO Max. Go ahead and watch that 1,000 times. Drop something in the comments. Tell us what you thought about the movie. Speak to our people. I will make sure everybody's socials are linked below. As always, I'm BKA Watts for the Blerds And Clips podcast, right here on the Pro 3 ENT Network. We appreciate y'all. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and say cool shit to us, because we banging on all things pop culture. Appreciate y'all.